Welcome to episode 27 of the Latter-day Saint Geeks podcast. I'm Spencer, and my co-host today is Russell, and we're back again for some more Disney songs.
This definitely
So,
is becoming a theme, isn't it?
I mean, like we said before, there's Disney, like Disney for every mood, basically. Like today we're doing villain songs because it's, spooky season, but we might do love songs for February or mom and dad songs for Mother's Day and Father's Day. Or we could just do, something for fun. I have no idea. We haven't thought that far ahead.
I promise that I do have other interests than just Disney songs, although I will say that it's probably one of my favorite aspects of Disney is the musical aspect, and I will attribute most of that to my wife, who is more musically inclined than I am. So
Well, it's not a musical, but I mean, I watched Inside Out 2 for the first time this weekend, and it basically broke me. So it would be my recommendation for today, except one, I wanted to do more spooky season kind of recommendations, and two, I need more time to process it.
fair enough. I have not seen it yet, so I will take the recommendation even if it's not an official one.
Well, speaking of recommendations, do you want to lead out on that?
I will, and you keep mentioning and referencing spooky season, and for me, I'm not a big fan of being scared or spooky season as far as that goes for Halloween, but I do love the idea of dressing up, and so I think that's why when you asked me for a recommendation, you kind of were saying Halloween slash villain themed, and I was like, all right, well, we just had the passing of James Earl Jones, the original voice of Darth Vader, and that's where I kind of was coming at this from. So my recommendation is a music that or a video that you can look up on YouTube. Background: I'm pretty sure I saw this video before YouTube was a thing on a website called stupidvideos.com, which is what I used to watch stupid videos before YouTube was a thing. And there, somebody came up with this Star Wars gangster rap. And basically, it's you got like Luke is rapping, and then you got uh, Darth Vader rapping, and it just is kind of a fun little uh, homage, I would say, to the Star Wars universe, original Star Wars universe, I would say,
I would say probably
between
just the first three,
Luke
but
and Star Wars. Yeah, absolutely. So that's my recommendation. Fun little video to watch to get your Star Wars fix in, and it
you know,
definitely can it can
I
get in your
don't
head. So
I don't remember it, although it might maybe once I listen to it, it'll sound familiar. But I mean, we were talking briefly about mental health before we started recording. I imagine this video is probably pretty comical and good for when you're having a bad day and you need a little chuckle.
absolutely,
So I've definitely
100%.
got some of
That's
those
exactly
videos
what.
saved across social media and such.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, my recommendation for today is directly Halloween related. Um, the Disney, I think it might have been Disney Channel, but regardless, it's Halloween Town movies. Do you remember those?
I've never seen them. I've heard of them, but I've never seen them.
Okay, so there's your homework this month. At some point, watch the Halloween Town movies. They're not spooky, though they have a villainous figure in each of them. But at least the first two are uh, like paired together differently. There's like a third and a fourth one. Um,
I have seen it.
but
I take it back. I've seen the
you have
first one.
okay.
Yes,
So,
it is.
so
Yeah, I do
this
remember. Yeah.
The second one is like an immediate follow up to the first one. It's got a similar style. Like it's true like sequel feeling. The third and fourth ones kind of standalone movies that are technically sequels, I guess, but they're not related to the plot of the first two. And the first two are the best ones, as is usually the case with these kind of franchises. And because of a random recasting in the fourth one, we don't really talk about the fourth one very much. If there's any Halloween movie that I have to skip in the month of October, it's the fourth Halloween Town.
Okay. Good
But
to
the
know.
main character they recast, and I've seen the I follow the original actress from the first three movies. I follow her on social media, and I think she's answered the question before of like, no, they didn't tell her she was being recast. Basically, there was no reason for them to recast her; they just did.
Yeah.
So, I would love to know why Disney did that without. It's just weird, and every fan of these movies is like perplexed and why, why? But that's
The
why.
world,
What's that?
I said the world may never know.
Yep, it's one of those things. So, but yeah,
Alrighty,
check
well,
out the check out
yeah,
the second one during spooky season this year, I guess, because it's not spooky, but
right.
it's like family friendly spooky.
Yeah, I
I
can get
mean, it's
behind
Disney
that
Channel.
more. I'm not, I'm not a big fan of horror movies in general, but I do like dressing up for Halloween. So
Amen.
I don't
What
ever
are you
like.
dressing up as this year?
That's a good question. I still have to give it some thought. Sometimes I feel like my best costumes are ones I come up with like the morning of, which is not the best way to go about preparing a costume because it leads to a lot of stress and problems. So I will give it some more thought. I will say just as an interesting aside, I've spoken with a couple people about this here recently. I once wanted to dress up as Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird for Halloween, and it dawned on me there's no way to distinguish yourself as Atticus Finch unless you're going to carry around a book of To Kill a Mockingbird with you. And so sometimes those are the kind of things I like to do for Halloween is dress up as like some of my favorite characters, but some of my favorite characters aren't really very distinguishable from anybody else. And so if you dress up as them, it's not like somebody's going to come up and be like, "Oh my goodness, you're Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird." And I think that's one of the challenges I have when it comes to dressing up for Halloween.
I mean, sometimes those are the best ones that you just do for yourself. I've done that for Comic Con before. Not like that, but because the character is so obscure that people are like, no one notices, like, no one can tell who I am.
Sure.
Um, as far as last minute costumes, that's how my Wreck It Ralph costume was created. Was
Nice.
I wanted a new costume. I had the overalls from my Mario costume, and I threw on the right shirts from my closet. Done. Um,
Nice.
So, and now that's one of my favorite costumes, and it was literally pulled out of. I bought nothing new for it. I already had all the pieces. I'd love the gray overalls, but that's not what I have, and it's fine. It's recognizable.
Yep.
But for me, I'm gonna be Prince Eric because my 4-year-old wants to be Ariel. I looked for the
Excellent.
specific pink gown that she wears at one point in the movie, and then my almost 2-year-old is gonna be Mermaid Ariel. She didn't really have as much choice in the matter, but I mean,
That's
she's
fair.
next next year she's gonna have more of an opinion on what she dresses up as. I expect.
Sure.
So,
Yep. I hear you.
but I mean, you've got a little girl too, so the
Yeah.
Disney princess, Disney prince combo could bode well for you. I always love those as a daddy daughter costume.
Absolutely. My wife has found a couple of costumes that we're considering using. None of them are Disney themed, but we'll see. I honestly, I expect that she'll probably wear all of them at one point or another for different activities. So
Wonderful. All right, you ready to jump into some of our Disney villain songs?
let's do it.
So, like last time, we kind of picked 3 to 5 songs, and based on how we had what we had for time last time, we will probably only get through 3 of them. So, I guess which one do you want to start with?
Well, I think we'll just start at the with "Be Prepared" from The Lion King. I think that's kind of I don't know of the list. That's the one that's most I don't know. I don't know how to
Sinister?
describe it necessarily. Say it again.
Sinister?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Uh, and most recognizable maybe as a true villain song when we get, anyways, I just because it's very apparent, like, okay, what are we gonna do? We're gonna kill the king. Okay, well, that's usually a bad thing when somebody's talking about murder in a song. Usually
Yeah.
that elicits a mark of, okay, that's definitely a villain song. So, um, I
Well, I mean,
anyway,
and that one has it's like the villain monologue plus all the misty green color that Disney loves to use for its villains. And I mean, just with how popular The Lion King is and was, like you said, it's going to be the most recognizable, not just as a Disney villain song, but as a Disney song because the movie was so popular. But I mean, it
not
just
to
only occurred
mention,
to me while you were talking that it's basically the villain monologue, which is classic.
yep,
And but he does it just so like Scar's pretty fabulous. He does his monologue in song form.
yeah, can't beat that, right? Not to mention they kind of commandeers the Boy Scouts of America motto of "Be prepared" and uses it for sinister purposes.
Well, as much as I
Because
just said he monologues, he also kind of leaves it vague as, be prepared for whatever happens next.
yeah,
And yikes.
right, yeah, it's
Which is
I
funny
there's
because he
also
definitely wasn't prepared because he took over the Pride Lands and then the Pride Lands slowly
yeah,
died.
he didn't
Literally,
have
the
that.
plant life and everything. No.
There wasn't the follow-up plan. There was just be prepared because we're going to kill the king and I'm going to be king, and didn't have a plan for infrastructure after he took over, and except for he just kind of wanted to sit on his throne and be a king and have
Yeah.
everybody doing his bidding, and that did not go well. So that's, I mean, there you go. That's I don't think I expected to talk about the political implications of a Disney song for a Disney movie, but that's pretty much what we have here with Scar. Not to mention, I again, this is just a having served a mission in Germany and knowing the history of Germany a little bit. There's definitely some Hitler-esque uh, marching that goes on in the original "Be Prepared" song. That
Ooh, I'll have to check that out.
yeah, just when the hyenas are marching by Scar, it's very reminiscent of Nazi Germany. So, uh,
Well, dang, I was about to compare his whole plot and lack of infrastructure to Megamind, who didn't really plan past the conquest either. But
sure.
you definitely took it down a different road there with the Nazis.
Uh, probably it probably would have been better to go Megamind than Nazi Germany. I think that's probably
That's
uh,
okay. That's okay.
less
We
than.
can talk about Megamind another time.
There you go.
The problem with villain schemes. It's a
That's right.
blog post or podcast episode for the future.
There you go. So I do love it. I think it's a great song, and just kind of, you're right. I like the villain monologue that he kind of gives, and outlining kind of what his plan is to get power, which he then implements. So
Yep. Anything else you want to say on that one?
I think that's it.
I think we ought to do the next one that we have written down, Mother Knows Best from Tangled, only because it's kind of the flip side as far as villain songs are concerned. Scar goes so cryptic and explicitly villainous in that song. But in Mother Knows Best, she's pretending to be a loving mother. And as much as I don't like the term gaslighting because I feel like it gets overused in our world and on social media, but she really does like gaslight Rapunzel multiple times during that song that like, oh, you're not good enough to do this. You're not strong enough to go on an adventure and you know, you'd be, eaten alive if you left this tower, but
I
all under the guise of I'm a loving mother and I know what's best for you. And which is something important that our parents try to take care of us. We try to listen to our parents. Our parents teach us what's safe and what's not. But she uses that innate part of a parent-child relationship to keep the missing princess locked in her tower for her own selfish reasons.
Yep. I was going to use that term to describe this song, and you hit it right on the head. I don't know that I have anything to add other than it is. We mentioned the it's low key sinister, which makes it more sinister, I think, right? Because she thinks she knows she's not acting. She's acting in her own best self interest, but trying to deceive Rapunzel with what she shares with her, which makes it just like, this is awful. And again, just
Hmm.
the uh taking over of such a, like, mother knows best. Well, that's such a good thing to know. Like, that's wonderful. But then you hear the song, you're like, oh no, she is like using this for a bad purpose. Just similar to Be Prepared, where Be Prepared, that is a great slogan. That is something that's wonderful. That's great that the Boy Scouts of America, that was something that they always like to do. And I think it is important that we're prepared. But when you take that term and commandeer it for a negative purpose like Scar does, when you think about mother knowing best, it's important to listen to your mothers. We have in the Ten Commandments, honor thy father and mother, and that's an important thing. When you take that and commandeer it for your own purposes and be like, you have to listen to me because otherwise you're gonna die. And it's not that she's really concerned about Rapunzel dying. She's concerned about losing her ability to keep her youth and uh, you know basically perpetuate the lie that she has set up when she kidnapped Rapunzel and stole her for her own purposes. So it just is I again just that stealing of something good and then turning it on its head and making it bad. So
Well, and it just occurred to me, like, just like Scar didn't prepare for the political takeover and the infrastructure after it all, after assassinating the king, essentially. It occurs to me, like, what was Mother Gothel's like long-term goal? Like, she just wanted to make herself younger perpetually. Like,
right.
what was the long-term, like, make herself younger for what gain? In the Tangled series, it kind of expands upon the mythology of the sun drop and even references Mother Gothel as kind of part of this coven or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But even so, it doesn't. There's no indication in the movie or even in the series necessarily that Mother Gothel has any long-term plan besides I'm gonna like stay young forever, and that could be a commentary on immortality, I suppose, in any regard. Like Tuck Everlasting, like what's the point of a immortality if everything around you, if there's no purpose beyond your immediate surroundings and your immediate self.
Right.
So
That was Mother Gothel's problem, right? Is she was using it for vanity, right? Like that was the purpose there. So to your point about what are we, if you're going to have Tuck Everlasting, Mother Gothel, perpetual youth, etc., to what end, right? And so we thinking about a connection there to the Book of Mormon, the three Nephites who chose to have they wanted to remain on the earth perpetually until the Savior came again. Their purpose was so that they could share the gospel with people, which
yeah, their purpose
that's
was service.
exactly right. And so uh, there's Mother Gothel was like an anti three Nephi guy or lady, right? So it was a very selfish purpose, whereas three Nephites it was very selfless, I would say.
Well, and even if she had the goal of like, I want to rule the kingdom and get rid of Rapunzel's parents and rule that kingdom for myself and rule it forever because I'm going to stay young, even that would make more sense than, she didn't live in isolation per se, like she made Rapunzel live in isolation, but she was still kind of isolated in her own way. No one really took any thought of her. No one knew that she was even there before she kidnapped Rapunzel, and even afterwards, it's not like anyone was looking for this old lady. It was just we have no indication that she was doing anything but um, living and making herself younger, and we don't know anything else that she was doing. So it's like, why? I just have the question of why
Hmm.
stay alive forever if all you're going to do is live in isolation. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I That's, yeah. She was as much a
I mean,
uh,
it's a narcissistic thing. Like it's all about vanity, but like I don't know why you'd want to live forever if there's not even like even a nefarious purpose
right,
would make sense.
right. The irony is that she was as much entangled with
Nice
Rapunzel
time.
as thank you, as much as Rapunzel was imprisoned by her. Right?
Yeah.
She just could never. She had to be. She was confined to a radius that would allow her to be able to get back to the tower to be able to have Rapunzel sing, and so it just
I mean,
that
but you
may
could
be
say the
another
same
question.
thing that before Rapunzel was born, she had to stay within a certain radius of the flower.
Sure, right?
So whether it's the flower or Rapunzel, it's not like she had freedom in her life. She still had to always return to that spot. There's no like exploration, no, you know, really anything beyond a certain point because she always had to come back physically to that spot.
Yep.
There's so many holes in Mother Gothel's plan that we could spend a whole episode talking about those.
That's right. Oh,
So, well, unless you really want to talk about Ursula, I'm thinking our third one could be Hellfire from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I would just give a shout out. I'll probably have to a shout out to my cousin who has waxed poetically about poor unfortunate souls and just that is Satan's plan. So I won't go into details here, but maybe I'll do a blog post about that song here one of these days. So shout out to cousin Jonathan.
Well, and if we have time, we can discuss it. But
Sure. He
Hellfire
does love
just
Hellfire though as well. So I'm glad that that's the one we're going to talk about because it yeah. So go ahead.
well, it's the whole be prepared part, but from a different angle. I mean, it so because the Hunchback of Notre Dame is kind of a less frequently discussed Disney movie, in my opinion. I mean, some people may have forgotten this one, but I mean, if I recall the details correctly, and I know it hasn't been that long since I've watched this, but like he's essentially committing himself to the devil. He's this priest, and he's committing himself to the devil basically, all because he's lustful and you know want like have this burning desire for Esmeralda, who in his culture is a heathen, a Gentile, whatever you want to call them, the gypsies. Like he's attracted to Esmeralda, and instead of accepting that and moving on with his life, he's like consumed with the idea of going after her, even if it means he's willingly going into this hellfire. Which I mean, I suppose maybe less explicitly, but I suppose people from a spiritual gospel perspective, people do it all the time, knowing that this or that might not bring them lifelong or eternal happiness, but it'll, you know, satisfy this itch or this need in the moment.
Mm, it's a good insight. I think it's interesting that this is the one that we're choosing right now. And just as we've been discussing, I think that there are elements of the other two songs, or at least the two other plots within this one. There's the connection between the priest, I can't remember his name, and Quasimodo.
Frollo?
Say it again.
Frollo?
Yes, Brolo obviously has Quasimodo locked up in a tower, just like Mother Gothel had Rapunzel locked up in a tower. And he's also expounding in this song a little bit about his plan of, okay, now Gypsy, it's your turn to burn, right? Like he's which is again going to his plan is okay, well, we're gonna just burn everybody out, kind of like Scar has his plan for taking over the kingdom. Brolo is now expounding on, all right, well, I have this burning inside me. Now I'm going to bring this burning outside, and we're going to just burn the town until I can get rid of this problem. Uh, so bringing in elements of the other two songs, it feels like, or at least the two other plots connected here with Hellfire, which is just an interesting take, I guess.
Which
Uh,
is funny because I mean, at least with him, there's some reason or goal or long term plan, I suppose, with his that one he wants like he doesn't care about long term plans, I suppose, as far as being attracted to Esmeralda. Like he just wants to satisfy that itch, um, as the natural man. But then as far as like getting rid of the gypsies and burning them, like it's certainly not a good thing. I don't think I need to. I don't think anyone will think I'm justifying his actions, but like at least he had a motive that made sense. Like his end goal was like religious purity and or whatever he saw as purity,
right.
and so like there was no long term goal except essentially burning a witch at the stake. Like he thought he was doing what God wanted, but also so did the Pharisees in the New Testament.
Sure. Yeah. It's another good insight there.
So I mean, there's no long term goal except that he thought he was doing what was right, I
Yeah.
think. Or maybe he knew that he was doing wrong and he was just in denial. I don't know. But at least he had like an end goal in mind other than Mother Gothel wanting to keep Rapunzel captive and Scar not wanting, like, not having a plan past taking the throne.
Right. It's a good point.
Oh.
Comparing and contrasting. I don't know if that was on my plan for discussing these songs, but I liked that they were all connected.
Well, and we got a couple more minutes, I think, so why don't we go into Poor Unfortunate Souls?
Yeah, so this is again another villain with her plan for she does have a long-term goal of, okay, I'm doing this because this is Triton's daughter, and if I can take her out, then maybe I can get close to him and take over his kingdom. Or at least that was my understanding
I mean, it's
of
power and it's revenge because we don't see what happened between Ursula and Triton, but we get the kind of impression that there's some kind of history and some kind of vendetta,
right,
um, which would be a wonderful sequel. Sorry, not sequel, prequel. Um,
right.
Maybe a live action prequel like they're doing with Mufasa. Like, let's do those for the live action movies and not just rehashing movies that we already know. But yeah, again, it's kind of a my I feel like it's kind of a villain monologue. It's kind of a like Mother Knows Best that she's manipulating Ariel.
Definitely. There's definitely
Um,
some manipulation going on where
her
she's just
monologue
saying,
is more like when she's hushed tones talking to her eels,
right,
but it's still like it's got the feel of Mother Knows Best with a little bit of villain monologue going into it,
definitely. Yeah,
all to get revenge or
that's
power
it.
or both.
Yeah. Well, just again, I feel like I should have. My cousin Jonathan has more. This is basically the devil's plan, right? Like he promises you the world, but there are strings attached, and those strings are pretty heavily attached, and he doesn't make it possible for you to disconnect those strings, right? And so he's going to drag you
Well,
down.
yeah,
So,
and it ends up in captivity.
right,
If you've seen the Olaf Presents shorts, where he rehashes some of these um, Disney movies, which is still better than the live action movies. Let's just have Olaf do all the movies. But he just
Oh,
like, oh, he's an emaciated shrimp. Like there's a like it's captivity. Like, you know, you make a deal with the
yeah.
devil and you end up captive.
Yeah.
Who saw that coming?
The fact that it's not, again, you have to go down to her level to be able to make the deal to find out about what's going on. And okay, and you have to sign this. Oh, by the way, there's a caveat. I'm going to take this from you, and you have to do all the work. And if you don't accomplish what your goal is, then I'm going to, you know, it's happened once or twice. Someone couldn't pay the price, except for I think it's probably every time she's made a deal with somebody, nobody could pay the price. So
Yeah, she stacks the deck against them.
yeah, that's exactly it.
Like even when Ariel was about to, you know, the kiss the girl scene, even
Yes,
when she was about to
yeah,
complete the deal, her eels like flip the boat,
exactly. Right. Yeah.
and even then it's like, oh, she's
Actively
getting too
working
close to
against you.
win. She's getting too close. Like she literally intervenes and magics Eric to fall in love with her instead
Right.
of playing fair.
Right.
Which I mean, throw that into whatever angle of a gospel analogy you want. It's yikes.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, just interesting. Again, these are, yeah, very recognizable villain songs. I think both past and more present uh, Disney music that is very relatable or very recognizable as okay. These these people do not have your best interest in mind, despite
Yeah.
saying otherwise.
I know we're probably about out of time and you got to run to work, but I'm just going to throw one more quick villain song in here. Um, Shiny from Moana, and I'm only going to bring it up because it's absolutely ridiculous.
In what way
Like,
do you mean ridiculous?
I mean, it's just so random that, like, you know, Moana's trying to distract Tamatoa, so like it kind of fits, and you know, he's crabulous, so of course he breaks into song.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's absolutely no reason to have this song in the movie. It does not push the plot forward, except like he literally sings about eating fish as he's eating fish, and then he gives a little bit of exposition subtly about Maui's past. But I mean, other words, he's just singing this ridiculous song about covering himself in shiny treasure and how he's not shiny on the inside. I don't know. Like it's just I've always thought it weird, and at least when I first saw the movie, it was probably my least favorite part of the movie because it just was so random. But even then, it's like, what is this? Like even now that I've watched it countless times, we even had it playing at our wedding reception to keep the little kids occupied,
That's funny.
which was a wonderful. I don't know whose idea that was during the wedding reception, but we loved it.
Yeah.
You know, we could talk to the adults and the kids were occupied. Um, but what? Like, I still am like, where does this song come from? Like, what is going on here? That he like musicals, yeah, everyone breaks out into song sometime, but where did Tamatoa come from that he literally sings about eating his dinner as he's eating his dinner and then sings about Maui's tattoos?
We don't see him again in the rest of the movie, except for if you watch the after
That
credit
end credit
scene.
scene,
Right?
yeah.
That's it. And so you're right. I don't. Yeah. He's not.
So yeah, I just bring it up because it's ridiculous and
Yeah.
I just gotta
Okay.
laugh about it. But it's just
Sure.
so out there.
Sure. Fair enough. I like it. So. And there's a plethora of other options. Cruella de Vil was one that came to mind, where that just is one that frequently gets in my mind. I think, right, and plenty of other villain songs that are out there. So
Well,
which is
another one that just to mention Friends on the Other Side. If you like the spooky and the creepy,
yeah,
like
sure.
Princess and the Frog is not a movie that gets talked about as much as lots of
Sure.
the other princess movies. But
Hmm.
Dr. Facilier is like not just spooky or villainous, he's creepy.
Yeah,
Like he
agreed.
literally has deals with demons
Yeah.
that help him with his plot.
Yep.
So I don't know if I'd have as many insights into that song, but it's still, if you're looking for villain songs, there you go.
Absolutely. Fits the bill.
So since you're more musically inclined than I am, if I recall, why don't you sign us off with a little line, little refrain from "Be Prepared"? Just that line.
Ooh. Well, be prepared. There will be more to come, and we appreciate you listening to us. And thanks for I appreciate this very much, Spencer. Just being able to talk with you about these things is always fun, and always fun to kind of delve into the music a little bit and be prepared.